Agree to disagree.
I don't agree to that.
Neither do I.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
Pluto's not a planet. They changed it in 2006.
Yeah, I heard about that, Morty, and I disagree.
You disagree?
That's right. It's possible to disagree in science, Morty. Pluto was a planet. Some committee of fancy assholes disagree. I disagree back.
All right, it is time to disagree. And Daryl and I are already gonna disagree because that's just what we do.
I disagree with that.
Well, we've had a little time off. It's a little busyness, I guess, is what you could call. I mean, Daryl's never busy. He doesn't do much. But
it's something about the holidays that just kind of screws up everyone's schedule.
It really does. You're right on that, Daryl. Yeah, we're back tonight, a playoff preview show, and we're going to have one for you. It is that time of year, Daryl.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
It's the classic Jim Moore. It's just classic.
It gets you in the mood. But the funniest thing is, he made that comment in week 10?
Yeah, it was early in the season, early-ish in the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course, coming up, wild card weekend. Big one, of course, Raiders at Texans, Lions at Seahawks, Dolphins at Steelers, Giants at Packers. And the Raiders-Texans game is a 3:35 kickoff on ESPN. Lions at Seahawks is a 7:15 kickoff on NBC, and those are both on Saturday the 7th. Sunday the 8th is the Dolphins at the Steelers, 12:05 kickoff on CBS, and the Giants at the Packers, a 3:40 kickoff on Fox. So you have 4 different networks carrying the 4 games. So it's going to be an interesting weekend in football. I'm glad the Lions made the playoffs. I really am. And you look at that Lions-Packers game, and it's it was kind of a lose-lose. I mean, it was a good game to watch because, okay, they won the NFC North. But it would have been way more interesting if the Redskins would have won.
Well, and yeah, at that point, but they knew going in, and I think that's kind of what the NFL wanted, to have that option there in case, if Washington won, then okay. Now suddenly this game, means a little bit more. But even so, the option to have a home versus away game, I mean, that's huge in the NFL. And that definitely means, especially on, a short week for Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had the home game and then they turn around and now, playing Saturday, going cross country.
Yeah.
Heading out to the West Coast. That's going to kind of,
Yeah. Well, and you look at them going into that Packers game as well. They had a shorter week than I know the Packers fans, oh, yeah, whatever, Packers do it. Well, it doesn't matter. The Lions were on the road on a short week. They were on the road. They had to travel back home on a short week and play the Packers at home. I mean, it's difficult. And you got Stafford with the finger injury. I don't want to make any excuses for the Lions. Lions are a damn good team. And the Packers are playing hot right now. They're the hottest team in the NFL going into the playoffs, and or one of the hottest, I should say. But I don't know. We'll get to that game later, but just a recap of what it was last week to get in, because the AFC was pretty much all set going into Sunday. It was just seeding was the only thing that wasn't set. The NFC wasn't set until after Washington lost, and I know Tampa Bay kind of needed everybody to die on a plane wreck on the way home to make the playoffs.
It was a wing and a prayer, and trust me, both wings were broken and the prayer wasn't answered.
Yeah, they were living on a prayer. Thanks a lot. But so let's start with the Raiders at the Texans, and that's going to be your first game of Wild Card Weekend on Saturday the 7th, 3:35 kickoff on the network of ESPN. We talked about this before coming on air, Daryl, and we disagree on it. I think it's gonna be a boring game. But in my
I think we agree on that part.
yeah, and they're saying ratings could suck and could be low. I mean, I'll probably still watch it if I'm available. But I go with the Raiders on this one, and I know you don't, but I go with the Raiders on this one. I just think they have more offensive talent than the Texans do. Yeah, the Texans have a good defense, but that defense has been relied on all year. There's no offense there for Houston. The Raiders don't have a defense. I get that, but they have great offensive weapons. And is Connor Cook going to be the answer? No, he's not. But and that really sucks for the Raiders, because I really think the Raiders had a chance to make a great run at the Super Bowl. I think they had a great chance of beating the Patriots to get to the Super Bowl if Derek Carr's healthy. And I don't know if you agree with that or not, Daryl, but losing Derek Carr ruined the Raiders' season. I don't think they'll be one and done. I think they'll win, but then they'll get their butts kicked in the second round.
And see, this is where I disagree with you, but I agree on the aspect of, Oakland. As I said before the show started, when my car breaks down, I can't go anywhere. Losing Derek Carr was probably, I want to say, the nail in the coffin for the Raiders' season, this season, because heading into it, they had an opportunity to get a bye and have a home game, at least in the divisional round.
Yeah.
And now to slip all the way to fifth, you lose, the conference title, or the division title, I should say.
Yeah.
And then, you have to go on the road week one. Houston, as awful as they have been throughout the year, and it's been certainly roller coaster is a polite way to say it. There's been probably more dips than ups, but, at home, they're 7-1 this year. They've limited offenses to under 17 points a game. I think that's going to be the main thing, is without having Derek Carr back there, having a backup quarterback in, Houston will have a better opportunity. Again, only having, about a game and a half under his belt. Their front seven can essentially pin their ears back and rush them and just put the pressure on. And when that pressure comes, that's where you're going to see Houston won't have to rely 100% on its offense to win. Defensive touchdown, special teams, and I think that's where the Texans they'll be doing more game management probably than Oakland will, because they know that their defense can get the points on the board for them. I think Oakland does have some talented players. I think things in Oakland are going in the right direction, even if that direction is towards Las Vegas.
which is pretty much almost finalized, I think.
Yeah, I think so many, after it's a rumor for so long, it becomes true. But I do think that next season for Oakland, if
a healthy Derek Carr
gets back to it and can, continue on the progress he's made. He's put up some good numbers this season, quality quarterback, and I think fans who are in Oakland, fans of the Raiders, can look forward to future seasons. It's one of those things where, as much as we would love to see, a team kind of, come out of nowhere, but crawling before you can learn to walk and run. So Oakland, we'll take things a step at a time, and let's see what happens there. But I do think Houston being at home with their defense against a backup quarterback, there's just too many chips leaning towards the Texans for Houston not to advance.
And Fernando took the Texans as well. Tones went with the Raiders, and Bourne went with the Texans. So it was a 3-2 split there.
3-2 in the correct direction. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever floats your boat. A ship.
Right now, it's all the water is frozen. So.
Then we move on to the second game of the weekend, which would be the Lions at the Seahawks. I think this could be one of the best games of the weekend. It's a 7:15 kickoff on NBC. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworthless. And that's going to be a great game. I'll let you pick that one first, Darryl.
Well, going right away, I'm going to lean towards Seattle on this one, similar for the reasons I went with Houston, again, being at home. But the fact that Detroit really has just kind of gone down on the slump here at the end of the season. Completely struggled again with Dallas. They got handed to them on that Monday night game, then losing a very pivotal game to a very hot Packers team, then going into the postseason and having to go on the road to Seattle, the 12th man there seems to be just a lot of things that, in my mind, line up against Detroit. And you mentioned the injury to Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
I will give the Lions a lot of credit this year. As weird as it sounds to not talk about Megatron, Calvin Johnson.
And how good they are without him.
How good they are without him. The fact that, it's I kind of like the analogy to a guy who walks a tightrope without a net. You've got the net there. Okay, you slip, you fall. You're going to be caught. Matthew Stafford can't just turn and throw the ball downfield and hope that Calvin Johnson makes something happen.
Yeah.
A lot more of the pressure then was put on him to make better throws, and he's definitely had a very good season and spread the ball around. That's the main thing, is the fact that it's not just, okay, next man up. Golden Tate was number 2. Now you're number 1. You're getting all the passes. It was spread out. You look at the passing breakdown for that team. It's phenomenal to see. I mean, it's socialism and communism, whatever you want to call it. That's the best way to put it. It is 100% receiving by committee.
Yeah, it is. And you take a look at that game, and you take a look at Matthew Stafford getting hurt, okay? And that was, 4 weeks ago, I think, 5 weeks ago, something like that. So in the last 5 games, they're 2-3. I think that has a lot to do with the Matthew Stafford injury. I think if he's healthy, it's a different story. They're 3-5 on the road. Seattle's 7-1 at home. I'm going Seahawks. It's just the coaching staff has been here before. They've done it before. The Lions, the playoffs aren't a new thing, but they don't win in the playoffs, and that's a new thing for them. But Seattle is dominant in the playoffs. I got to go with Seattle at home. But I think it's going to be a great game. I don't think it's going to be a huge shootout because Detroit's defense has actually been pretty good this year.
Yeah, and Seattle certainly does have its, flaws. I know with Russell Wilson, he's kind of been battling, nagging things throughout the season. They do have Thomas Rawls back now. They got him back, I believe, week 14, maybe week 15.
Like
but, they are missing some, I think in my mind, some key elements there that at least elements that aren't 100%.
Yeah.
When I look at, I guess, kind of the general overview of what you would consider Oakland versus Houston, Detroit versus Seattle, kind of that idea of a higher powered offense or a more offensive focused team traveling to a more defensive focused team. They're similar matchups, just the night game has much sexier names.
Yeah. yeah, it really does. Then we move on to the third game, and that is the Miami Dolphins at the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 12:05 kickoff. And I believe the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2002, I think is what the stat I saw. So you take a look at the Dolphins. Jay Ajayi, not healthy. He'll play. Ryan Tannehill is out. So Matt Moore is your starting quarterback for the Dolphins. I just think things are stacking up against the Dolphins. And you take on a Pittsburgh offense with Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback, Le'Veon Bell at running back, and Antonio Brown at receiver. And now let's Ladarius Green at tight end. He's like 6'6" going across the middle. Well, Big Ben's going to hit that guy. I just think everything's stacked against Miami. I don't see them having a chance in this game at all. I think this is the biggest blowout out of all 4 games this weekend. I don't think I think Pittsburgh wins by 3 scores or more.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can get in their early afternoon nap on Sunday. Pittsburgh going into the season for the first couple weeks, people were talking about them and could they be stopped? And I think they lost to Philadelphia in week 4 or 5. And then suddenly people are like, oh, what's wrong with the Steelers? It's like, well, nothing. Now they're a 3 seed. And when you look at the AFC, and this is how interesting it is, in my mind, the top 3 seeds versus the bottom 3 seeds, Tom Brady, Alex Smith, Ben Roethlisberger, comparing that with Brock Osweiler, an injured Derek Carr who's, been replaced by...
Matt McGloin, who got injured.
Yeah.
And now Connor Cook is starting.
Connor Cook. And now, as you mentioned, with Tannehill going down, and you're going to have Matt Moore there. I mean, you look at the difference, not just in name, but of experience.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me not to imagine that you're going to have essentially the experience advancing in the AFC.
Yeah.
It's just really difficult for me to see guys like Cook and Moore to lead their team when they really don't have that much experience themselves. And that might be Brock Osweiler's biggest, the best part for him is the fact that, well, he's of the younger quarterbacks, he probably has the best opportunity to advance. And again, this Pittsburgh team it's kind of changed what we're used to seeing with a Steeler defense.
Yeah.
A Steeler team, you're used to seeing them being very, defensive focused. And, now you have Antonio Brown. He's got the league record for most receptions, 481. That's over a 4-year span. He's just, you're used to seeing them running the ball.
Yeah.
And even now, Le'Veon Bell, he's been doing that as well.
Yeah.
157 yards per game.
When he's not suspended.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is. I mean, and you look at the Steelers, they're the hottest team in the NFL, 7-game win streak, along with the Patriots have a 7-game win streak, but they're off this week. So the hottest team playing this weekend is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they're 11-5 on the year, a 7-game win streak. I just, man, they're tough. They're 6-2 at home, which is a great record. And the Dolphins are 4-4 on the road, but like I said, I don't think it's close. I don't think it's a competitive game at all. I think Pittsburgh walks away with it early, too. I'm saying early. I think it's over by halftime.
Yeah, it would be really difficult for me to say that this one should be pretty well wrapped up. I mean, things can happen. We've seen Roethlisberger get, dinged up before. But he usually finds a way to battle through it. But I think even without him there, as much as I've said the opposite with some of the other teams, but what's around the Steelers has, in my mind, proven commodities.
Yeah.
To especially in the postseason.
And that's a clean sweep. Fernando, Tones, and Bourne all took the Steelers as well. I think most people with the right mind would take the Steelers. So
it seems to be the best in my best to lock. If you were to look at
out of all 4 of those games, that is the easiest pick in my opinion. Now coming up 3:40 on Sunday. Is the Badgers basketball at Purdue? Oh, sorry.
That's happening as well.
That's a 3:10 tip-off, which I probably will watch the Badger basketball. I mean, Purdue's ranked number 20th in the nation. The Badgers are 2-0 in conference, 12-2 overall. I think it is something like that. And but anyways, the Packers are playing the Giants. The Giants are going in to Green Bay. The Giants are no slouch. I mean, I say this matchup is worse for the Packers than if they would have lost and went to Seattle. That's my opinion. I could be very wrong on it, but I don't think I am. I think they got a worse matchup. I really do, because I think the Giants are a better team than the Seahawks.
I think either way they were going to have a tough battle. The biggest thing that's going to happen here is you're having the Packers' offensive strength against the Giants' defensive strength. And the biggest weakness, I think, on both sides is the Giants' offense and the Packers' defense. The Packers' defense, again, with the injuries they've had, it's a really banged up secondary. And Eli Manning just really has not had the same, touch on the ball that he's had in the past.
No.
It's been, you think with the receiving core that he has, Odell Beckham Jr. and Victor Cruz, the younger guy, Sterling Shepard, they have a lot of targets there that he's missing these passes. And people are starting to wonder, okay, is this starting to be a sign of age? I mean, remember, I think, was it 2006, 2007?
7.
He won his first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that's coming up on a decade now.
Yeah.
So it's hard to imagine that, yeah, he's starting to get some age and wear and tear on him as well. And, you would think that with the receiving core he has, he should be on the same line, as some of the other elite quarterbacks that we talk about, especially in the AFC and across the field, and Aaron Rodgers, that if you have these guys who can put up these numbers or can, make these plays that they're able to, and he's missing these throws, that's where a lot of it comes in. In my mind, this is going to come down a lot to, do the Packers defense force enough turnovers, and do the Packers do enough to hold onto the ball to get a victory?
Yeah, and you take a look at the Giants, they've given up the second fewest points on the year.
Yeah.
And it's their defense is tough. The only team better is the Patriots, and they're giving up. And the Giants are giving up roughly 18 points a game. That Packers defense is kind of a sieve. When you look at it, they're giving up 24 points a game, but that secondary is completely depleted now. I mean, you talk about depleted. That secondary is bad, and you don't see Clay Matthews getting that power rush like he's been getting. Nick Perry's hurt; he's not getting a great rush. I just think this is a bad matchup for the Packers, and I really do. And I'm picking against the Packers on this. I know the Giants are only 4-4 on the road, and the Packers are 6-2 at home, and the Packers are on a 6-game win streak. Okay, I get that. And Rodgers is hot right now. Blah blah blah. Should be MVP. We'll talk about that in a few moments about MVP and whatnot. But I think this is a perfect storm for the Giants. I really do. They're 11-5. They're on the road. I think the Packers are expected to win on this one because it's Lambeau Field. It's Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think there's much pressure on the Giants at all, in my opinion, going into this game. Because people aren't expecting them to win, because the Cowboys took all the thunder all year, and the Giants are quietly 11-5. And the Cowboys are allowed 13-3. Everybody heard about the Cowboys. But the Giants, you haven't heard much about. They're quiet. They have not scored a lot of points this year, but their defense has played great this year, only 18 points a game they've been giving up. I got to go Giants in this one, and it's nothing that I dislike the Packers. Yes, I do, but it has nothing to do with the dislike of the Packers. I just think the Giants are a better team, and I think they're going to win.
I'm going to pick against you, and it has nothing to do with the home field. I think it has to do with the, as I said, the fact that during this stretch, when you look at the Packers towards the end of the season, I believe, the last 5-6 weeks, they completely turned things around offensively and defensively from a standpoint of turnovers. I believe after week 11 or 12, they were something like -4 in turnover differential. Now, going to the end of the season, they're like +12. I mean, you realize a 16 possession swing there, that they've created more turnovers, getting fumbles, interceptions, and then not giving up the ball themselves. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has had an interception in the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gone on quite. It's the ability to maintain the possession. That's going to be the biggest thing, not giving the ball up. And I think, when the pressure kind of starts coming, if the Packers kind of push on Eli to make some of those throws, and again, he's been a little bit errant on some of his throws.
Right.
There should be some opportunity for even the guys who aren't necessarily your top cornerbacks, safeties, whatever. There's that opportunity there, and I think the Packers are the ones who will end up capitalizing on it. I would say Green Bay, but it's definitely going to be a close game. Going to be, I would imagine, low scoring. If the winning team gets above 20, I would be surprised. I
think this is going to be the best game of the weekend. I really do. I really think it's the best game, and it's a Sunday afternoon game, which is perfect slot for that game. And well, Daryl, you're outnumbered. It's 4-1, the Giants. But I think that's Fernando and Bourne, especially hatred of the Packers. I'm almost certain of that. Fernando, 100% sure. Tones went with the Giants. He's pretty logical, but that one could be a little swayed as well. And
mine again is not a sway either way for or against Green Bay. I've got a feeling that when it comes to possession and controlling the football, I'm definitely going to lean towards the Packers, as they've been able to do here on this stretch, on this run. You know, that they'll be able to continue that, and if they do maintain possession, they limit their turnovers.
Yeah.
You know, and force the Giants to make some mistakes. That's going to be the biggest difference. Otherwise, if you were to put these two teams together, say there's no turnovers, it's just on the field as it is. I may give the edge to the Giants then, but again, that's part of the game, and I think Green Bay will be forcing that.
And let's just do a quick Super Bowl pick. At the beginning of the year, I chose the Patriots to win, and I'm sticking with it. I don't think the Patriots are going to be beat. I really don't. I think Tom Brady's chip on his shoulder is so big this year. I just don't see him losing. And their defense is phenomenal this year. Their defense is playing great. Their offense is firing on all cylinders like they always do with Tom Brady at the helm. 28 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He does not make mistakes. Tom Brady doesn't make mistakes. So I'm still picking the Patriots, but I think I previously had them playing the Seahawks, I think it was. I know it wasn't who I'm going to say, but it's the Falcons. I think the Falcons. I think it's going to be the 2-1 seeds. The Falcons are a team the Falcons are a 2 seed, whatever, but they're better than the Cowboys. I just think there's been so much limelight on the Cowboys. But we talk about how quiet the Giants have got to 11-5. Well, how quiet have the Falcons got to 11-5 as well? You haven't heard much about them all year. You really haven't.
No, which is actually kind of surprising when you think about it, and it really has been, especially with Matt Ryan, as he's should be in the discussion, I think, more than he has been for the MVP race.
Well, and that's another thing I want to talk about, too, is Matt Ryan, the only stat he doesn't have better than Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers is the best player ever, and he should win MVP. Ask anyone. The only stat that Rodgers has better is touchdowns. That's the only stat that's better. Interceptions, they're tied with 7. Matt Ryan has 700 more passing yards, a higher completion percentage, a higher quarterback rating. But the only thing Aaron Rodgers has more of is touchdowns. That's it. I just feel it should be Matt Ryan, because he literally is the MVP of that team. He's the best player. I mean, he's a player making that team better. People will say, well, Garoppolo was 3-0 for the Patriots. Okay. Then Tom Brady's out if that's the thing. But I just think Aaron Rodgers, of course, everybody's going to say the best. But what about Matt Ryan? Let's talk about Matt Ryan and his stats that are better than Rodgers. His completion percentage is better than Aaron Rodgers. He has more yards than Aaron Rodgers. He has more yards per game, same amount of interceptions, and his quarterback rating's higher. I like Matt Ryan for MVP, but let's go with your Super Bowl pick.
Well, when I look at the Super Bowl, and it's really hard for me to pick against the Patriots as well, especially in the AFC. Experience, when you look at the way Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have whatever wavelength there is, they've hit it, they've clicked, it just works for them, and they understand the system. The pieces around them seem to be almost interchangeable. They find ways to make it work, and especially in high-pressure games. I would see New England playing in February. I'm going to have to go with, though, as much as I like Atlanta, and I do like Matt Ryan, I can see it being Seattle that makes that run. Mm-hmm. That'll be one of those more interesting things when Seattle will have to end up playing at Atlanta if they win on Saturday. And that's going to be, I think, one of the tests that comes out. We'll see what Matt Ryan and the rest of the Falcons offense can do when Seattle's defense comes in, and they're more amped up because they know it's postseason time. This is go time. So I'm going to lean towards the Seahawks representing the NFC. But I'm going to agree with you, though, that Matt Ryan, I think, for the regular season, at this point would be my MVP candidate.
Your MVP pick as well for right. I mean,
if
honestly,
if Derek Carr hadn't gotten
right
hurt and played the full season, I honestly would put him ahead of Matt Ryan just for what he means to that team.
Well, just the fact of it being Oakland and how bad they've been and how bad of quarterbacks they've had.
And it's the fact that, just what he has put together for the team. What he put together for Oakland, I think there is definitely a change in the mentality for that organization. Carr would be my 1A or 1 asterisk if it wasn't for the injury.
Right.
But I think Matt Ryan throughout the year has also proven the leadership aspect too as well. I mean, the fact he's been at the helm now.
Yeah.
I want to say this is maybe his 8th season.
Let's see. Ninth season.
9th season. Yep. I mean, and now, he's put up some good numbers this year. He's done a lot of great things. And I just think that all of the pull going back to the star in Dallas has taken away the spotlight that I think should be shown on some of these other teams that we talk about today. Atlanta, Seattle, Green Bay, all and Detroit as well. I mean, Detroit, we're not that far removed from Detroit being what Cleveland was this year.
They should have been, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people will, can rip the Browns, go right ahead. Detroit was on that same line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that long ago.
No, they were that bad. Yeah.
So this is going to be very interesting to see. It's a mentality thing. It is really, it really is getting a culture change. And we'll see what happens with Oakland now that they've kind of got their culture change started.
Well, that's your NFL picks for you, your playoff picks here on Disagree to Disagree, brought to you by 1UP USA, www.oneup-usa.com. I want to move on to college football, Daryl, as we have the national championship coming up on Monday night as the Clemson Tigers take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. So it's going to be a great game. I really do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be defensive at all. It's going to be high-scoring. It's going to be hard-nosed. There's going to be a lot of hard hitting, but it's still going to be high-scoring. I think Clemson, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I think it could be a 3-point game. It could be a 1-point game, to be honest with you. But I think Clemson is going to win. I was a firm believer in nobody's going to touch Alabama. This is probably about over a month ago. I was a firm believer nobody's going to touch Alabama. Alabama's so good. Okay, then I watched last weekend's games, okay, and how Clemson just dominated Ohio State, which I thought Ohio State had the best matchup if they played Alabama. But they made Ohio State look like a high school football team. They really did. And then Alabama didn't look that good at all against Washington, who I thought Alabama would just blow out of the water. I honestly thought that would be a 3-score game. But I was wrong, and Washington was in that game for most of the game. And then you take a look at Clemson, just dominated that whole Ohio State game. But I'm going to take I'm going to say it. I'm going to take Clemson, and there's a good chance both teams are going to score over 40 points. I think it could be a 45-44 game, something like that. I really do think it's going to be a high-scoring, hard-hitting game. But I'm going to take the Tigers and Clemson and Dabo, baby.
I really got to lean on Alabama on this one. I think that the Crimson Tide, much like when I talk about New England, the fact that it's a culture. It's ingrained in these players, in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And, Alabama has just been able to, and I don't even care about the, off-the-field stuff of, having Lane Kiffin Leaving as the offensive coordinator, and was he kind of pushed out, or he said, "Oh, it was amicable." I don't care, and I don't think the players care either.
No.
And Nick Saban certainly, I mean, for a man in his early to mid 60s, he is rather intimidating.
Yeah.
He's going to probably tell those players, "Don't worry about it. If anyone asks you about it, you just got a game to play."
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's going to be, I think Clemson can go in there more loose.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the idea of they're playing with house money. They played last year. They lost last year.
No, nobody's expecting them to win.
No.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing is, when we were talking about a rematch during the week, I was talking with some people about it, and I honestly had forgotten that they had played for a title last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that it just kind of slipped my mind
Mm-hmm.
to even realize that this has been, back-to-back years now that the Big Ten has basically been embarrassed
Yeah.
in the national football playoff, as you had Michigan State getting walloped by Alabama last year.
Yeah. You take a look at these games, and you talk about the Big Ten. They struggled. They really did struggle. But I'd say the best game of all the bowl games was the Rose Bowl between Penn State and USC. What a game. Did you watch that one at all?
Oh, I was watching. I didn't get to see it beginning to end.
Right.
But I was able to catch parts of it throughout the night, and seeing how, at one point, very early on, USC was up, and I'm thinking, okay.
And then Penn State scored, 28 in a row points, I think it was?
They ended up getting 28 in the third, and then to have USC turn around, put up 17 in the fourth quarter, it was just the pendulum swings in it. You're even if you don't have a dog in the fight, you're still entertained.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How, again, the teams, the swings one way, the other way, how suddenly, Penn State goes on a run, USC answers back, and it was phenomenal to watch. I mean, you don't have to sit there, and if anyone wants to make complaints about defense or whatever, it's like, they put up, combined over 100 points, but it was a really good game, not just on the offensive side, special teams as well. I think Penn State went ahead, and then USC returned the kickoff to retake the lead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just a fantastic game, and being under the lights out in Pasadena, the granddaddy of them all. Yeah, that was a great game.
It sure was. And that was awesome. So Daryl's going with Alabama. I'm going with the Tigers. And we have a couple other picks for you as well from Fernando. He says, Clemson 41, Alabama 38. Tony's got Bama 28-10. And Borno says, roll damn Tide.
Roll Tide.
So, 3-2 there for the bad guys. But I don't know. I just really like the way Clemson's playing. Deshaun Watson, he looks great. So, but we'll see what happens. Coming up this weekend, actually taking place right now in the golf world as we move on to golf as we pass football. I guess we could do standings first for our Pick'em League, which is still going on, which we have playoffs, which Daryl notified me of.
Yeah, I'm glad to tell you that. I'm actually 1 point ahead of you.
You are 1 point ahead of me. I'm in sixth place, and you're in fifth. 13th is Underdogs with 26 correct picks on the year, 26 and 196. I don't know how much effort they put in. Tones, 69 and 185. In 11th place is Purple Pride with 88. Number 10 was Kyle Spurley with 114. Ninth place, Mother Suckers with 126. Number 8 is T Blow Me with 131. Number 7 is Tinker Stinker at 144. Adrian Peterson, which is me, 148. At number 6, number 5 is One Nation Under Goodell, which is Daryl, 149. Woo. And number 4 is In Dak We Trust at 154. And these top three are kind of close. Number 3 is Master Deflator at 162. Number 2 is Lick My Punt at 164. And number 1 is Hey, Would You Blow Me? Is at number 1 with 165 correct picks. So it is a close one here down the stretch.
Playoffs could actually mean something if these guys remember that they're actually playoff picks.
Yeah, I hope they don't.
Same here.
Maybe we got a chance. No, we don't. So that's our playoff pick'em going on for you. That's the rankings, and the winner will get to join us on a episode of Disagree to Disagree. And we take a look at the SBS Tournament of Champions, which there's only 32 golfers in this. And what it is, it's the 32 people who won the 32 events on the PGA Tour last year. Last year's winner was Jordan Spieth at 30 under, Daryl. 30 under. He won by 8 strokes. Jordan Spieth is dominant. I'm going to tell you that. He is very dominant. And what's Jordan Spieth at today, you ask? They are still golfing, actually. And Jordan Spieth is at 1 under, and he is through 14 holes. So 1 under through 14, I guess not bad, but not on pace for his 30 under that he had last year. Leading right now is Jimmy Walker at 7 under. If you pay attention to golf at all, which I do, and I'll go home and I'll watch this, actually. And Jimmy Walker is one early in the year. He is fantastic. He ended up winning, though, last year a major event, which was very cool to see because I absolutely love Jimmy Walker, and he's a great golfer to watch. So I really love Jimmy Walker, and that's going to be my pick to win the SBS Tournament of Champions. And Daryl, I know you like the Asian names, but who will you pick to win it this year?
I'm going to go on a different route altogether, as much as I would love to go with some of the guys in our Asian domination. But I'm going to go with Dustin Johnson. Right now he's tied for 11th, but he's at 3 under through 14, and I'm going to stick with DJ.
Yeah, I like DJ as well. You take a look at Jimmy Walker. He's 7 under through 17 right now, so he's on hole 18. If he can go 8 under through one day, that's pretty good. But there's a lot of other big names up there. Jason Duffner is 5 under. Justin Thomas is 5 under as well. Hideki Matsuyama, who I thought Daryl would pick, is 4 under through 16. Brant Snedeker is 3 under through 17. Jason Day, Mr. Nike. Now, Nike apparel is what he's wearing, and I'm sure he's getting a lump sum of that for that. He's 3 under through 15. Patrick Reed, Mr. Red Shirt on Sundays, is 2 under through 15 holes. Bubba Watson, long ball, is 1 under. And there are only 3 golfers that are over par right now. Billy Hurley III, James Hahn, and Si Woo Kim. Si Woo Kim is 2 over. So that's impressive, though. I mean, I know it's only 32 golfers, but only 3 are over par. So that's a pretty good round. So I'm going Jimmy Walker. Daryl's wrong. And going with Dustin Johnson. But I love DJ as well. I'm a big Dustin Johnson fan. I know you're a fan of his fiancée, Paulina, as well.
Hey, any man who can, grip it and rip it like that, on or off the golf course.
Right? So true. Any final thoughts, Daryl, for this upcoming playoff weekend and national championship coming up on Monday?
Man, I think probably the biggest thing I would say, party responsibly. You're just coming off of the New Year's holiday, coming off of Christmas weekend as well, first weekend of playoff football and the national title game. Give your heart some rest. Fried food, greasy food, it's all delicious, but in moderation, because we had a bacon-themed party on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, over at Shea Page, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Towards the end of the night, I pretty sure my heart had stopped at a certain point. But yeah, we did bacon wrapped shrimp, the rumaki, which is the bacon wrapped chestnuts. Man, I can't remember what else we did with bacon. Oh, bacon pizza.
Ooh.
This was Papa Murphy's.
Oh, really? Nice.
Canadian bacon, regular bacon.
Papa Murphy's free pizza. We'll take it.
And a peppered bacon. 3 kinds.
Wow.
So we had that on there. Then we had like a bacon cheddar cheese dip that we were dipping pretzel sticks into. And to top it all off, we ended up making BLTs at the end of the night.
Nice.
So we at least had vegetables at the end.
Yeah, who needs those, though?
Yeah, so when my heart started to slow down, I blamed it on the tomato.
So last week at work, we ordered sandwiches from a certain sub shop. And we ordered a BLT with mayonnaise and cheese. What do you think came on that sandwich?
Just a lettuce and cheese.
Bacon, cheese, and mayonnaise. So apparently you have to, when you order a BLT sub, you have to specify that you want the bacon, the lettuce, and the tomato. So apparently that it's in the title of the damn sandwich, but you don't put it in there unless you're told. I quite frankly don't understand that. But the holidays, man. You talk about holiday eating, and there's just so much darn good food. There really is. And I eat a lot of food when it comes to it. But my girlfriend's mom, Jean, made a caramel apple pie.
Oh.
And I've been eating that the last couple of days. Daryl, I tell you what, that is phenomenal. Oh, a caramel apple pie. Oh, it was perfect. And I'll tell you, I had the best pulled pork sandwich I've ever had yesterday. And I'm going to give a shout out to this restaurant because I want to. It's the Unique Cafe in Boscobel. They had the pulled pork was their special. And it was you got a big plate. I mean, it was a pretty big pulled pork sandwich. You got a nice serving of fries. You got a slice of pickle on the side, or a spear, dill pickle on the side. And you also got coleslaw. I did not eat the coleslaw or pickle. I'm not a fan. Nothing against them. I just don't like coleslaw and pickle. I won't eat it anywhere. But the French fries were amazing. And then also the pulled pork sandwich, fantastic. How much do you think you paid for that meal?
$1, Bob. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I confused it with the Price is Right. I'm going to say with or without tax. Without tax on the menu for $8.95.
$6.50.
Damn.
$6.50 for a nice plate, a nice sized plate of food, Daryl, and it was the best pulled pork sandwich I've ever had. Honestly, you can't beat that price. The Unique Cafe in Boscobel. If you haven't been there, people, go. It is so good. I really, really encourage. I've been there before, and I've had their chili, and I loved their chili the last time I was there. But I went there. I was out on the road on Wednesday, and we went there. Unique Cafe, Boscobel. Pulled pork sandwich was fantastic. I will go back to the Unique Cafe. I'm going to tell you that right now. But yeah, a lot of good food, a lot of good presents my kids got. I also got a brand new DeWalt drill, Daryl. That was a pretty big highlight of my weekend, or couple weeks for Christmas. And I also got a new griddle, okay? It's a ceramic griddle, ceramic surface, and it has a warming tray in it. Let me tell you, it keeps those pancakes warm for quite a while. It really does.
and that's needed, especially when it, comes to having, Brenner or other important meals.
And I have 5 people in my household every other weekend, So, I mean, I got 2 boys, and my girlfriend's got the daughter, and it's like when you have 5 kids in a house and you're trying to make pancakes and bacon and eggs and sausage, it's like, okay, we got to keep things warm here, or we're going to have some cranky kids.
I think you're going to have cranky kids either way.
Regardless, you're going to. I get that as well. But Daryl is great. Playoff special with you. Playoffs. But it was a great one. And, we'll be back next week. We'll try to. Maybe we'll do some Facebook Live stuff this weekend during the games. I don't know yet, but I like that Facebook Live stuff. Daryl doesn't. Daryl doesn't like people looking at him at all, and nobody likes looking at Daryl. So it kind of works out. It works itself out.
I actually had someone since where I work, I usually don't have windows in the rooms.
Right.
Someone came up to me and goes, "Don't you get lonely sitting in these rooms without any windows?" And I go, "No, I don't like people." And she just kind of said, "Oh," and walked away. And yeah, I was happy.
And I think that's both of us, to be honest with you. All right. So, well, it's been a great one here on Disagree to Disagree, brought to you by 1UP USA, www.oneup-usa.com. Also, Unique Cafe. We'll throw them in there. We already talked about them enough anyways. So we'll throw them in there, and then not sponsored by that sub place that screwed up.
Maybe we can get a Unique Cafe to cater our winter meetings.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? All right. For Daryl Fisher, I am Brad Collins. You guys have a great wild card weekend from Disagree to Disagree.